Listen as Mr. Painter explains the setup, design, and routine of students' historical fiction novels. Our approach to the historical fiction novels this year differs greatly from how the historical fiction novels were presented to me last year. I remember specifically coming in and observing my mentor teacher one time in the spring last year. It was on a day in which we were distributing their novels for the Civil War in the fourth quarter. And I remember vividly, a student came up to me and she said, "You know what, Mr. Painter, these novels which we get, we don't actually read them. All we do is take a test at the end, and everyone fails the test because they don't actually read these novels." I remember thinking to myself, there's something wrong with that. They had these excellent novels on the Civil War, and yet they aren't actually reading them. And it appeared to be a standard which many students would utilize throughout, the classroom. It seemed like all these students had the same mindset that they just wouldn't read these novels. So, that kind of got me thinking over the summer, and apparently something that some other teachers within the school have been thinking about too, including some language arts teachers. And so they kind of presented to a mentor teacher this proposal that maybe they should have worksheets along the way in addition to just the test at the end of the novel, but they should also have these worksheets to kind of accompany them in the reading and kind of help pace them throughout the process. So my mentor teacher agreed, and we came up with these worksheets, and they were worth 14 points apiece, 2 worksheets in total, and one was due halfway through the novel. The second worksheet was due at the end of the novel. In addition to that, they would also take a test, which was worth 32 points. And so in total, this combination of points equaled 60 points in total. And in the first quarter of this past marking period, there was a total of 184 points which students could earn. So this equated to about 32% of their grade with this system, in which we give them worksheets which they have to fill out, one in the midway through the book and one at the end, in addition to the test. I found that this approach has been very beneficial because it, first off, puts more of an emphasis on this novel by having the additional extra 28 points which students can earn by doing these worksheets. It makes the importance of the novel much greater within the overall point structure. But it also helps them kind of not only review for the test, because they're an excellent source of review by reviewing these sheets right before they take their end of novel test, but it also helps them with the pacing. They understand that midway through their novel, about 2 weeks after they get their novel, they have to complete one worksheet. And then after another 2 weeks, they're expected to have completed a second worksheet. So really helping them with this pacing element and making sure that they understand the system, and the system is one which they have learned and will continue to work on throughout the course of the year, a system which will not change. I found this has been very helpful for them, especially some of those readers who struggle or might have more difficulties keeping up. They understand that this system is in place, kind of gives them a pace, kind of helps them to break down where they should be on their book, if they're behind, ahead, or right on pace. And so I found this system to be very effective, and definitely would be something which I would look to implement in the future. Students agree and cite the important role that the novel worksheets and the overall structure play in helping them pace themselves through the reading of their novel.
I think the worksheets are better than chapter by chapter. I like having a test at the end of each book, I guess, instead of little quizzes for each section or something. I like it how it's spread out. It gives you a better picture of how much you have to have done by each certain time, and it keeps you on track better.
Yes, it helps me keep track, and if I fall behind, then I just know I need to catch up, and then I have another worksheet to do, so it helps.
I like the way that we do the testing with the worksheets because some teachers, you just read the book and then you have about a month and then you have to take the test. And if you read the book really fast, at the beginning you don't always remember what happened, or with the worksheets you have to think about what happened, go back, maybe reread some parts, look in the book, and it helps you remember. So when you take the test, you have a better chance of getting a grade that's higher.
These students' findings speak to a larger student consensus. In an anonymous survey, 43 8th grade students in Mr. Painter's focus classes at DeWitt Junior High were asked the following question. Do you believe that having the novel worksheet due halfway through your novel reading helps you to pace yourself and finish your novel? Their responses were the following. 24 students replied yes. 15 students replied no. 4 students replied, I don't know. Clearly, the setup and design of students' historical fiction novels has played a critical role in terms of helping students develop a sense of routine. Throughout the course of this presentation, it has become evident that the use of the assignment board in planner time, daily homework assignments, warm-up questions, and historical fiction novels have been paramount in terms of establishing a classroom routine.